Well, today on Nova Legends, I got Westfield's new coach, Kevin Harris, who recently got appointed a new job. Congratulations, coach, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, of course. Well, first, I'm sure everyone is going to be curious. So you stepped down from Centreville, won 2 state titles in a row, developed some great players there. And
Right.
I kind of got the feeling we talked last time, you kind of wanted to focus on Darren a little bit. Darren,
Yeah.
older son Darren was playing at Flint Hill, Paul VI this year. But now you're taking another coaching job. What made you change your mind, and take us through the decision-making process?
When I stepped down from coaching, it was because I wanted to watch Darren play and be more, active in my younger son's coaching, with him and his team. But when I stepped down, I told my wife and a few close friends, like, the only job I would come out of retirement for, like right now, would be, Westfield, because, we live in the Westfield community. My younger son's slated to go there. And just having coached in the area for so long and, being in the community, I know that Westfield is like a top tier program and activities wide. I mean, they run a great show over there, and the community is great as well, very supportive.
So you're in your year off. You watch a lot of basketball. You watch,
Yes, sir.
you watch Paul VI play a lot. You probably watch some of the public school teams. I saw you at a couple Centerville games. Have you learned some different things in your year off? You think you're going to be a different coach, or since it's not really broken, it's the same Coach Harris?
I think you can always get better and improve. And during my year off, I spent a lot of time. I've watched a couple practices here and there from some different coaches and different colleges that we visited. Picked up some things from them, and being in the gym with PBI and Team Takeover with Coach Keith Stevens. You learn something new every day, and I think that's just what's important, is that you continue to add to your bag as a coach as well, just like you tell your players to.
Yeah. Have you met your new players yet?
We had an open gym early last week before the girls' camp. I met a few of the guys there, but it was just good to get out there and see them play, and like not such a structured environment, and just get to meet them and introduce myself.
Yeah. Have you talked to Coach Yule, our mutual friend? Have you got a chance to talk to Coach?
Yeah, I've talked to Coach Yule a few times. He was great. We sat down and talked, had a good conversation about the program and his years at Westfield. And of course, once you sit down and talk with someone, the conversation always goes on forever about high school basketball in the past and everything like that. So it was great.
Yeah. Are Centerville and Westfield big rivals? I know they're very close to each other, but I mean, there's so many schools out there. There's Chantilly, Robinson's not far away. Are they big rivals?
Yeah, I'd say they're big rivals. I mean, the time I was at Centerville, Westfield was really, really good my first year there. That's when they won the state championship with Tyler Scanlon and Blake Francis. Then we kind of battled it out for a couple of years, and then we had our time to shine at Centerville. The last 2 years I was there, and we did pretty well in the district. But I mean, yeah, geographic rivals for sure.
Yeah. So when you watch the private school games this year, you watch Darren play, and I mean, you get some great matchups in the WCAC.
Sure.
Did you ever want to coach private schools? Or are you a public school guy? Do you enjoy the public school game more?
I enjoy the public school game. I don't know anything other than that. I've never coached at a private school. I think it presents a different set of challenges, but good challenges in the same way. I mean, the competition levels, sometimes higher, but at the same time, it's basketball and they're teenagers, and it's pretty much the same game. It's just you got to approach it a little differently.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Your youngest son. What grade is he going to be in?
6th grade.
Okay, you got some. So
He's got some time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I know this is early days, but do you think, as in the case of Darren, he'll play private, or do you hope that he'll play at Westfield for you?
I don't know. I mean, at that time, we sit down at the summer before or after his 8th grade year, during that time, we look at it as a family, see what's best for him. Every kid is different. It could be in the same family with different kid, different skill set. It doesn't matter. Just what's best for him at the time is what we'll do.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do look forward to coaching in Westfield.
Exactly. So one thing that we've talked about before, and you've heard me discuss it with the other coaches, is the fact that you have players that leave for public schools. I mean, for private schools, and that's part of the reality, is that your top players are going to have opportunities at private school, and sometimes it's hard for them to turn it down.
Right.
Have you thought about that? About what are you going to do to encourage kids to stay at Westfield? Is that a challenge for you, or are you like Coach Bentley at Wakefield? As I'll coach the kids that come, I'm not worried about that.
I think that, I have a unique perspective on it all because I have a son who's in private school. So I kind of know what to expect, and I can give parents that that guidance that, hey, look, private school's a great opportunity, if it's the right situation, if it's the right fit. Kind of like when you're picking colleges, it has to be the right fit. You're going to get the opportunities. You know, what are you looking at going in as far as a player, as far as a student? Will you be successful there? And I always tell families and kids that, I want what's best for you. At the end of the day, if that's going to Westfield or that's going to, private school, as a ninth grader, giving it a shot. And if it doesn't work out for you, you always have public school to fall back on. And that's great. I mean, either way, I'm supportive of the kids that I talk to or that ask me for help and assistance in any way possible.
Yeah, that's great. Well, how about staff? I know that some of your staff stayed at Centreville and they coached there. Have you picked your staff yet? I mean, how new is the appointment? It just happened last week?
It just happened last week, and I just met with the director of student activities on Friday, actually. And so I'm just like meeting the kids and I just got my keys on Friday. So it's really like brand new. And I want to sit down and talk with some of the coaches from the staff, from Coach Yule's staff and, see where they fit in if they're so interested in sticking around. I'll entertain other people that are interested in coaching at Westfield, but I'm not going to try to go pluck guys from Centreville. Even though we had a great run there, I would never do that to Joe. So.
Right. You have strong family ties to Northern Virginia basketball. Your father played and coached. Your uncle Tony is a legendary player and coach. Your wife Roxy was a really good player, played in college as well. And obviously, your sons are Darren's already a top prospect, and your youngest son's going to be a player as well. Did you talk to them about getting back into coaching? Was it a decision you felt like everyone had to be on board, or did?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I spoke with my kids and my wife first before I even entertained applying for the job, because I did enjoy having the year off and being able to do things I wasn't able to do when I was coaching. Going to see practices, going to games, being able to travel with PBI, around the country and follow them and really cheer them on. And it was important for me to get their support as well, because at the end of the day, coaching basketball is great and it's wonderful, but I still have to come home and be a dad and a husband. That's first things first. So yeah, with their support, that's when I put my name in that.
Yeah. Well, when I talk to a lot of the coaches, not just coaches, basketball coaches, but football coaches and coaches that have retired or whatever, one thing they do is they do feel, I think it's fair to say, underappreciated in some ways. I mean, I think coaching is very rewarding, but sometimes the financial gains aren't what they should be. And the reward is in other ways, the way you mold these young men, young athletes, and to do great things. Are there things about your year off that you really missed? In like if the coaches that say, look, this is a thankless job, I don't want to do that. Did you learn something when your year off? Like, I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to get back and do it again.
Definitely. So I stepped down last summer from Centreville. So I kind of did the summer stuff. Like once the basketball season started and I was going to Centreville games, I caught a couple of South Lakes games, obviously Paul the Six. I caught a Herndon High School game. I just, support kids that I used to coach growing up. So that was good for me to be able to do that. But at the same time, I did miss certain things about preparation and getting in the gym with the guys and working to, accomplish a goal and small things like that. And then it really kicked in like after the season, as the summer leagues and team camps were starting up, and I was around. I really enjoyed that part of coaching. That's when you really get to know the kids and the players, and that's the relationship piece that goes far beyond any coaching stipend or anything like that. When these kids have graduated and moved on, and you're being invited to their weddings, and they're sharing photos of their kids and all that stuff, that was means more to me than wins and losses.
Yeah. So it's very special. The years that I spent coaching, and again, I shouldn't even talk about my coaching record compared to yours, but the AAU, and I still get messages from my kids, and they still call me coach, and coach is such a very small part of my life, but the relationships I made my several years coaching are unbelievable, and they mean so much to me.
Right, exactly. And then those relationships start. I mean, I've coached at Falls Church, Jeb Stewart, Madison. I still talk to the kids from all those schools that I coached before. Yeah. So I mean, that to me is like, it's not about where you are, who you're coaching. It's about the relationship you build with the kids.
Yeah. Well, how about which part of the job do you think you enjoy most? Do you enjoy building a new program? Is that something that excites you, or could you have been just as excited to go back to Centreville? Is it exciting to try something new, a brand new program, brand new building?
I embrace the challenge. I mean, that's something I also looked at, was coming into Centreville as a first-time head coach. Where do we start? And then now that we kind of have that blueprint, what do we do and what do we change now that I'm at Westfield? What's the same and what's different, and how can we add to what we did there, as far as the coaching staff or personnel wise, to try to speed the process up a little bit, and see some success.
Yeah. Have you also thought about the structure that you have in terms of, and basketball is crazy. I just kind of got back into the game, as you know, with Nova Legends. But I mean, the spring leagues, the live period, summer leagues, the team camps, the AAUs, the fall leagues, the conditioning, the season, the Christmas tournaments. There's so many aspects of the structure that go beyond coaching. Have you thought about those things deeply, or do you have a recipe from your Centreville days that's good? This is how we're gonna go forward.
I think that since I started coaching with my uncle at Falls Church, that it was always a year-round commitment. It was never like a November to March thing. So it never really felt like I was doing stuff all year round because it just felt like I was coaching. And the thing that's different about being a varsity head coach is, you're responsible for all three levels. Whereas if you're a freshman coach, you just worry about freshmen. Varsity, you have to get kids engaged. You got to try to get kids that are supposed to come to your school to stay at your school and get in the community and get with the travel leagues and all that stuff. And it's a lot more on the outside the court and outside the gym than you think about it. But it's still fun and rewarding at the same time.
Yeah. Well, how did your relationship with the coaches change? Like, you're this competitor, not only a competitor, you won 2 regional championships, 2 state championships, and then you weren't coaching anymore. So everybody can like you and be nice to you because you're no longer a competitor anymore. Well, now you're back in the arena with all the guys. How did your relationships with the other coaches change through these changes?
I mean, I'm not crazy close with a ton of coaches as it is, but I mean, I still spoke with the coach that I was close with throughout last season, and even after this season. But I mean, at the same time, you respect those guys and what they do, and the guys that you're close with, you support them, and you keep an eye on them throughout the season. Just if I was coaching, I mean, I still kept up with the scores, and I had the NFHS app so I could see 3 or 4 games a night, maybe 5 or 6, whatever who's playing. So it wasn't like I missed a beat. It was just I wasn't on the sidelines.
Exactly. Anything else about the game changed? Like, I know one thing that probably changed, and it nothing to do really with the game itself, was your last 2 years, the pandemic affected both years. And the second year, you played in front of a lot of empty gyms. And last year, the passion was definitely back. People were starving for local sports. Did a lot change in the year you were gone? Did you notice some things about the game that were different?
I think my last 2 years, like you said, playing in empty gyms and having the kids play with masks on that first year, that was a bit of a struggle for a lot of people in the adjustment. And having fans come back to the gyms last year, in full force, and it's great to see the community support their schools, and it's great to see, the WCAC held their playoffs at Robinson, and it was a packed house. I mean, that's a far ride from McNamara and those schools that are competing in the championships, but it was still a packed house. I mean, probably close to sold out. I mean, that was great to see, and I kept up with the public school scene as well, and it was great to see Hayfield go on their run. And I talked to Los a little bit after the season, just congratulating him and saying, way to finish the job and way to get it done. But it was, definitely good to see.
Yeah. Well, what about let's I really enjoyed meeting Darren, Coach. He's such a great kid. He's got such poise for a young guy. I interview people all the time, and you would never know Darren I think was a freshman when I talked to him. How's he doing? Are you happy where he is?
No, not happy.
Was that right?
No, no. I mean, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the dad in me. There's always room for improvement.
Right.
It's great that he's worked so hard to get where he is right now, but he's still got a long way to go. And just like, as a child, and you look at your kids as kids and people first, he's 16 years old. He's got a long way to grow as a man and as a basketball player as well. And my job is to support him and try to show him the right way as best I can to make him maximize his potential.
Yeah, Coach, I was talking to Jason Coleman the other day, Walter's dad, and Walter's had a great run.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
And when you start playing real well, the stakes kind of go up. All of a sudden, everyone's looking at you and stuff. And I was just talking to Jason about that. And I told him, Jason, look, you got to let the guy enjoy this stuff. He's doing great. Just tell him to get better every day. But it's got to be a big burden on him. Sometimes I think with these kids, when things go really well, that could be challenging. That could be challenging too, because then the expectations go up and everyone's watching you.
Right, and it's tough to have those expectations on you, but that's why these guys are where they're at right now. And Gibraltar has had a great summer. I caught him at the DeMatha Library. I think I saw you in the gym that day.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been having a great summer. And I mean, for them to put the work in to display their skills on that stage, of course, there's expectations, and you you have a target on your back every time you step on the floor. But that's what they want, and that's why they compete at a high level every day.
Yeah. Well, Coach, look, I'm on my vacation, but I was so excited when I heard the news.
And I appreciate you taking your time out, man. You don't have to do that.
I didn't even bring my microphone out, but I had to get you on the line. I mean, this is great for Northern Virginia basketball. You're a great coach. You're a great guy. You've raised, you have a wonderful family. It means a lot to the game to get you back in. So we're all excited to see you back. Can't wait. I can't wait to the season and to see what kind of team you put out there. I know it's going to be exciting.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for your time, Coach. And hopefully you'll come back in once the season starts.
Sir, enjoy your vacation.
Okay, buddy. Good talking to you, man.